of what's available. I have the staff view right now, so we have all the modules lined up, but as a learner, basically they're going to be released sequentially. So every 2 weeks, we're going to start another module and they'll become public, etc. And so in some sense, there's, you know, content to go through. So we have some welcomes, etc. These small stretches are these activities that are just a little prompt to sort of get you thinking, and it's not like a big assignment. And most of these will happen in the discussion forum. So we've had this as an introduction activity in the forums, and we ask people, obviously, to introduce themselves. The best part is we've asked them, like, for an example of something in their life that they've done that sort of is an example of extending their capabilities, doing something that they haven't done before. And so I've really been enjoying, like, we have there's talented people, there's people who traveled, there's someone yesterday who built their own cabin, professional musicians. So subtly, it's a way to get to know people, so you're not just thrown right into the content right away. So, so the idea of this module 0 again, which is where we are right now, is to get people into edX, give people who haven't registered, so maybe some people here in the forums, a chance to sort of join, and before we start officially with the first module, which begins next Monday. And so we have a chance, a couple things to give people some ideas about how the MOOC will work. We have a little poll where we want to ask people what are they looking for in the MOOC. So some people really want the full experience and the badges, but we've asked people to sort of like do this little bit of poll to sort of find out why people are here. And so, you know, more than, you know, almost half of them so far have responded that they're looking to create more connections, and that will happen through some of the experience going on in the MOOC here. Back to what else is going on in the module. Everyone will end with this, what we call a little recap. It's a real simple exercise. More or less, you're going to be checking off some boxes saying that you did particular activities for it and that you submitted for the badge. Again, what you do is completely optional. But one of the things that the edX does, and it was a little bit of a thing that we had to think about, because edX has this concept of things being graded and assignments, and these aren't really assignments. So most of the things that are going to be listed as progress, and so I haven't done anything so far because this is just the beginning, but there'll be small amounts of sort of credit or points, if you will, but just acknowledging that you've done all of the activities for Module 1 and you submitted for a badge. There's a final, what we call an Empowered Educator badge, which is for people who've done all 6. Again, completing and doing everything in a module doesn't mean necessarily that's everybody's goals. You may want to experiment with just things in the Scholar module, and you can do that. And then there'll be small amounts of things, small participation things that we'll ask people to do during each of these activities. So we're trying to do a little bit more than just sort of have content. So there's going to be interspersed with some chances for people to have conversations, etc. One of the things that Terry mentioned that we wanted to think about, and you know, again, this might be a good idea for some people. It's the idea that you might be in this medium-sized MOOC with several hundred people, and you can get overwhelmed with the amount of discussions and things to do. And so one strategy is forming these small informal, we call them power bars. And so coming up, finding a group of people, they might be people at the same institution who are in this MOOC together. We also see some people already like asking, are there any math teachers out there? Anybody in vocational ed? And we just say, like, find 3 to 5 people within the MOOC environment to say, like, hey, let's touch base outside the MOOC every now and then, maybe by email, maybe by text messaging, maybe in Slack, which we'll talk about later. But just saying, like, here's the course and all the official activities. But every now and then it's like, you know, hey, Terry, Kyla, and Gloria, I'm really confused with what's going on with the one. Is my work any good here? And you have a conversation outside the MOOC. And hopefully, you know, for some people, the MOOC experience, for me, whenever I've tried them, I always feel like I'm alone. Or like, and I hate big crowds. And so we don't want people to feel like they have to go through it alone. But if they want to, that's certainly fine as well. So we're trying to think as many ways within this MOOC experience to make it so you can choose the way that you go through it and get out of it what you want. But ideally, we'd like to get a lot of people to go through at least doing a lot of the material and getting exposed to the content for the 6 modules, and hopefully being able to share back what they've been able to get out of the experience. Anything I left out, Terry?
No, I think well, when I went to Cambrian a few weeks ago, and we did the same idea in person. We were trying to just show people what this is all about, and one thing they asked us that we didn't do is to dig in a bit and talk about these activities, like, and so because I like to, like, I think that other than the opportunity to collaborate and learn about each other and connect, I think one of the best things is how unique these activities are and how helpful they are. So what's one of the activities that you really enjoyed?
You know, I always, you know, I like seeing what people came up with, like thinking about coming up with like a visual version for a syllabus. Like, so syllabus tend to be something that, like, it's a big document always. And, you know, we've seen, like, how many hundreds of syllabi have we seen as students and teachers? And so it's a chance for people just to sort of rethink about the representation of their syllabus. And even if they don't do it, the idea of revisiting your syllabus and say, like, can it be done as an infographic, or can it be done, you know, as sort of like a story or a comic? And so just the process of thinking about other ways to represent what goes into a syllabus in a different form of media is a worthy exercise in itself.
Yeah, and that's something, so visual is a great example, because what we do is we provide a place for extenders to share them. So we're not just saying, hey, this is a cool activity. Hey, here's 10 or 15 from the past that you could see that I know Jessica O'Reilly at Cambrian did one that she's using in her class this semester. So she's probably provided it there, and we can see it and get an idea of not just how she did it, but like what tool she used. So we get to learn about a tool that might help. And like, it's I think endlessly beneficial to have these connections and to share what we did.
And as more people have done the different activities we have, I didn't show the little interactive set of examples that we have in the introduction to the MOOC, but we've provided like some links to some of the things that people in the past have done for different activities within. So it always helps to see what people before you have done your work. And so we just hope to build that up over time.
Exactly. And so I'm going to just share again back to the slides. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you seeing them?
Yep.
Perfect. So just to some of the details of the MOOC, it runs from January to April. We're in the middle of module 0 right now. We think it'll be about 2 to 3 hours per week, but we like to provide enough, you know, rabbit holes and stuff to be endless. Not endless, but like you could put in a lot more if you wanted to. We're running, sorry?
Oh, I was just saying, the idea of like, often MOOCs are like, it's bam, bam, bam every week. And like, if life interrupts,
right.
I always feel like I'm on a treadmill in a lot of MOOCs. So we wanted to space that out a little bit so people can sort of not feel like the pressure of having to do something every week. So part of the plan is like in the middle week, we might introduce sort of an optional thing that you can try that goes a little bit above and beyond and actually goes outside the MOOC, just for people who feel like this is great, but maybe I really want to, you know, do some more exploring with some collaborative, you know, communication environments.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, the small stretches and the activities. We're always like collecting ideas for more activities and more stretches. Have activities to, you know, some of the stretches could be, what are your ideas for stretches? Like, so we're always like feeding each other and building from there. So yeah, 2 weeks per module. Module 0 is just the 1 week. We're in the middle of that now. But then it'll be 2 weeks, you know, the first week of let's go through it. And then you have the kind of little less exciting, not less exciting, but less activity in the second week, maybe, unless you're just catching up. When I wrote this, it was 375 participants who had expressed interest. That number is up to like 50 more than that, 440 now, and people are trickling in. The number who have accepted the registration link is at about 240. So we're waiting for the rest of them to come in.
And we should mention that, I mean, part of the thing is we hated to put something like out in front, but we have like this really quick survey for people who have expressed interest, because eCampusOntario is doing some research.
Yeah.
You can skip the survey if you hate surveys and go right to the link that gets you into registering for the MOOC. But we have, we checked before, we have 180 people who are already inside.
Yeah.
So we're definitely medium sized, right?
I think we're very firmly medium for sure.
We're not Vente yet, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Venti MOOC, the Venti MOOC is next.
Okay.
Just some other details that we've already covered. It's Open edX, it's the LMS. There's 1 badge per module, and that getting all 6 of those module badges gets you the Empowered Educator Overall Championship badge. And just kind of how we mentioned, there's those main activities, main quests, and then we're going to offer lots of side quests and that are in the form of stretches and maybe going outside the MOOC here and there. I put this slide in to point out that the badges themselves live outside of the edX platform. So once you're done your activities in there, we provide you a place to apply for the badges, and that will live outside. So you will get those to hold into your wherever, your LinkedIn, your CV, your you could get it tattooed if you want. I think Alan's getting his tattooed. But also that means that you could come into the MOOC and maybe not get through all the modules. If you don't finish a couple of them, they're out there in the open for later, and you can catch up on the couple you missed. And there's a look at the holy grail of what we're working for here. The badges.
Terry loves his gifts.
Yeah, I can't stop. Another thing, and again, we have Irene here who inspired this slide. We started a soft launch last week. So we invited, we had about 30 people in, or 40 or something, in the MOOC, just to see how things went, to like take some kinks out. And in there, Irene's like, Irene tweeted, "What are the stretches? Can I do them outside here on Twitter rather than inside?" And I said, "Come inside and do them. You can skip the activities you've already done." And then she suggested being a tutor. So we thought that was a great idea. So just another example of, we're being flexible. We're taking the great ideas from all of us who are involved. We're just here to kind of move things along. We're not the leaders so much. So from inside the MOOC came the idea of mentors. So there will be a few people. Irene's going to help us find some more, and they'll be in there leading the way, helping us. So there's one more slide. This is the second last one, but this is if you're interested and you want to check it out, that bit.ly, and the capital letters are important. The case is important when you're using a bit.ly. So if you want to, and already in there, you can just click the link and put your name in. And so that sends me an email where I get your address, and then I respond with an invite to the MOOC itself through the survey. And then that's where these slides live if you want access to them. If you notice in the chat, as soon as I Alan took over sharing was when I realized that I never hit record at the beginning, of course. So it started recording when Alan started the tour. So I think that recording will be great so we can see what it looks like, and then you'll also have the slides to look at after. But we have got, it's 12:45, we've got 15 minutes, and we're happy to stay even longer if anyone has any. Well, Alan's got to run to some important thing in Moose Jaw, I think, but I'm happy to stay as long as anyone would like to chat or has questions or feedback or anything. Sorry, Kyla, this lets us into the modules. Yes. So you will get an email with just some basic information and the link through the survey. You can fill it out if you want. And then there's the link to the MOOC.
Okay, so sorry, what you're saying is we can access these modules just through the website, like if we're not actually registered, because I can see them all. But
Absolutely.
If we register, then we're gaining those badges and we're actually.
You can even get the badges outside. You don't, the MOOC, the experience in the MOOC is just so that it's a shared experience with people that are involved, basically.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so that's then the opportunity to network and collaborate. But yeah, the extend.ecampusontario.ca site is where the content is originally from. It's there. Those are the open resources. There's a download page where you could download it all. You're free to do that.
What happened before is like people went through them in any order that they wanted. So we kind of thought we didn't want to like make it too orderly within the MOOC, but it seems better if people are working on the same module at the same time. But they'll gradually be released every 2 weeks, and you can always go back or pick an order, or just leave the MOOC and do it outside this experience. When the MOOC ends, I think it's April 30th. Pretty much like LMS stuff. Everything evaporates or gets archived somewhere.
Everything a student did is turfed, which is just a delightful little way to work.
So, it's kind of our inside plan is to like encourage people to start thinking about, well, if I want to carry this on outward, or if I want to, bring along some other people from my college or that I know, there are ways that you can do it without it being a MOOC experience. And I mean, there is some rumbling talk. I don't know because I'm outside the main office, but it might be offered again. Did I just give that away, Terry?
Oh yes, that's another thing. We mentioned that we collected a list of 440 people, but we've been collecting that for months. So we're thinking some of the people that don't make it through have become busy in the meantime. So we'll be offering it. Like no set plans yet, but obviously we'll want to offer it again. So anyone who's interested but not ready now can stay tuned for a future iteration from space. So this is for post-secondary educators in Ontario only.
Nope.
There's in our list, there's South Africa, there's Scotland, there's across Canada. Like heavy majority are in Ontario, and you're our target audience, but we're not disallowing anyone to join. Thanks, Kyla.
Please share widely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That could be a great Newfoundland power bar.
Yeah. Ruth, have you met Gavin Watson yet? He just just moved out there to work at, I'm not sure if it was.
Yeah, he's my new director.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Good.
Yeah. And I know David from some work with CNIE, and I used to sit on ETC and different things as well. So yeah.
Very cool.
Trying to figure out for a while how to get us in on this.
Oh yeah, you're more than welcome.
Thank
Come
you.
on in. Take over.
Yeah, so we're 10-2. I'm happy to keep chatting if anyone wants to. Alan, do you have to skip out?
Yeah, in a few minutes.
Okay.